So one day I decided to blow up my giant 45-pound pumpkin. I got some of this explosive stuff and then took it out to the woods, where we then set up a platform for the pumpkin to sit on. I put the pumpkin on it, and then we cut a hole out for the explosion dust to go in, mixed it up, and put it in. Then we were ready to launch a fast-moving projectile at it. And do not try this at home, we are trained professionals. But anyway. Here's the close-up slow-mo, and here's the far-away one. And then here's a little boomerang effect now. And this was all that was left on the platform, and the rest was scattered everywhere else, so comment anything else you want me to try. So one day I decided to take my giant 70-pound rubber band ball to an abandoned water park to throw it down a giant water slide. I walked around trying to figure out where the slide dropped off, and figured out it dropped off right over there. So I went down there to make sure it was retrievable, and it seemed doable. So I got the rubber band ball, took it up a bunch of stairs, and it was ready to go. On down this old abandoned slide. But first I wanted to try out this little one, so my brother went down there to film, and I threw the ball. And it went pretty fast, so I kind of lost track, but it went all the way down and out. My brother picked it up, and then I was ready to send the big one down. And I pushed it off, and it went down pretty hard and was making a lot of noise. It went around the curve, and then I could see it going through the tunnels. It was going really fast and started making even more noise, so some people started yelling. But despite that, the ball prevailed on and went all the way out. And here's my brother's perspective. That was cool. And then I lugged my rubber band ball home. So one day I ordered one of those app stimulator things I always see advertised to test if they really work. I opened it up, read the instructions, then put batteries in the motor and put the motor on and put it on my stomach. Then I turned it on and kept pressing the button to increase the intensity, and honestly it kind of tickled. And I decided to leave it on for a while to get the full effect and even do crunches and stuff. I had it on for a long time, and then I looked at the sunset and looked at my abs and realized it was time to take it off. And the results were amazing. Just kidding, that's not me. I'm right here and I don't really know if anything changed, and I don't really know if this thing works, so I just threw it over the fence but missed, so I threw it again. And then just walked away not caring. So I'm now doing a part 2 of this aluminum foil ball because a lot of people seem to like it. And no, I'm not going to be throwing away the ball at all. But anyway, this is the new process. I hammer it down and then put a new roll on. So here's the first roll, completely pat it down. And then the second roll, completely pat it down. And here's the final roll. I got finished with it, patted it down, and then took the mallet and beat it all up. And I was all out of aluminum foil. Here's me messing around and throwing it as high as I can. And here's asteroids falling from the earth. Like if I should keep on adding to it. So one day I decided to make another aluminum foil ball because I couldn't find my other one. So I took a roll and patted it down to a ball and went all around until the roll was empty. And I had this, and then I got another roll and wrapped it all around. And I ended up with this. Then I put the final roll on, patted it down, and bam, an asteroid. Yeah, it's a decent sized ball. I threw it up in the air, and then I compared it to my rubber band ball. Then I dropped the 75-pound rubber band ball all over, and it made it this cool chair. And then asteroids started falling to the earth. Like if I should keep on going. So I'm now to part 31 of making this giant rubber band ball, and I got another package. I dumped out this pack of pretty big rubber bands and placed the entire pile. And then, like I did last time, got a bunch of these colored garbage bag rubber bands and placed them all. And these ones placed pretty good. I finished, and the ball now weighs 81 pounds. I took it downstairs and out to the cul-de-sac, where I compared it to my head, and then got up and tried to throw it. And then I tried to throw it behind me. And then stood on it. And even tried to ramp it, but just broke the ramp. So like if you want me to keep going, and comment any ideas you have for it. So one day I saw one of David Dobrik's TikToks where he was kicking gum into his mouth. So I drove to the gas station to get some gum and try. I had the gum and I was ready to teach myself how to do this. I put 3 pieces in my mouth, chewed it up, blew a bubble, set some cardboard down for the gum to fall on, and kept missing. Then I switched over to this gum and first practiced my form, then went for it. And I just kept missing and using more pieces, and I was starting to get pretty mad and using up a lot of gum. And I got kind of close here when I caught it and stuck it in my mouth, but then I just kept missing, and then got kind of close. Then I had one hit the ceiling, stick to it, and then fall back down. And then one that almost hit the camera. And then one where I knocked down the blinds. And then another close one. And I was down to 2 pieces of gum. The first one hit the ceiling, so I got another one. And it got dirty too, so I washed it off. And then after a long 26 minutes, I finally got one. And then I celebrated. David Dobrik is one talented man. So one day someone commented for me to drop my rubber band ball in glass. So I went to Walmart and bought a bunch of different glass items. Then went home, laid out a tarp, and started with this glass vase. I set it down, then got the rubber band ball and threw it on it. And here's the slow-mo. It completely shattered and tore rubber bands off my rubber band ball. Yeah, I didn't expect that much, so I got this more solid piece of glass, laid it down, and crushed it. And here's that slow-mo. It was obliterated as well, and knocked a bunch more bands off. My ball is pretty mutilated. I washed some of the glass off, and there was a glass piece stuck in it. Comment what else I should try. So one day I got a comment that said to use Flex Seal on my giant pumpkin and then drop it, but instead I'm going to use it on a different one because I want to do something better to the other one. I gave it a nice coat of Flex Seal all around, and then I let it dry, and while I waited, we got some fireworks in my brother's poorly carved pumpkin, and then we tried to blow it up, but my brother missed, so we tried another one and it didn't really do anything, so then I got a different one, and it was kind of cool, but the next one was way better. Then it was time for another coat of Flex Seal. I sprayed it all around and then left and came back later to finish off the bottom. And it was ready to drop test. Don't try any of this stuff at home. I dropped it, and it cracked. It just cracked in half, and the Flex Seal held the rest together. But I smashed it and jumped on it. And I'm probably going to blow this 45-pound one up, so stay tuned. So one day someone commented that I should cover my rubber band ball in Flex Seal, and seeing as I broke it and it needed a little bit of fixing because there's glass shards on it, I thought, why not? So I rolled it out to my yard and started spraying it. I sprayed all around it until it was done. Actually, I gave it a little bit more and then let it sit. And the next day I came back and it had rained, but it was still solid compared to the side that wasn't Flex Seal. I picked it up and took it out to the cul-de-sac and it bounced the same and was just kind of stale. I rolled it into the basketball goal. Boom. Then stood on it, and let me know what else I should do. So one day I bought this giant slingshot to launch random stuff. I taped this side to the tree, and then the other, and it was ready to launch. So I filled up a box of water balloons, put one in, and it launched pretty good. Then the next one hit a tree. Then I had my brother stand back and shot him in his direction, and then almost hit him a few times. This one was right past him. And here's the first person. I put it in, pull it back, and launch it. Then I went to Walmart to get some pumpkins and try to launch them. I went home, and it wasn't working very well. This was my best launch. So I got mad, got on the zip line, and threw it at a tree. Then took the broken pieces and tried to launch them, and they actually did pretty well. Here's another one. Then I had some little pumpkins I also tried, and almost hit my brother. Here it is from behind, flying in the air. And here's another first-person launch. Let me know what else I should try. So one day I got a leaf blower, a skateboard, and an umbrella to try this thing I saw on TikTok. I didn't really understand how it would work, but I put the leaf blower on and tried it, and I didn't move at all. So then I got in a ripstick that I'm more comfortable with, thinking I would just move better, but it didn't do anything. So then I tried going downhill and then even flipping directions with the umbrella, and it didn't work. So then I got sad, but the sunset cheered me up. Psych, I was still pretty mad. I threw the basketball and then kicked it, yeah. So one day someone commented to drop my rubber band ball from somewhere high, and I don't live anywhere where I can really do that because it weighs 65 pounds and could hurt someone. So I took it to this abandoned race car track, took it to the second story, and dropped it. And it bounced and then just rolled into the ground. And I was like, I got to do something else. So I went down to this pipe and I'm like, can I put it in there? So I looked and it just gradually got smaller. So my ball would have got stuck. Glad I didn't do that. But I just ended up throwing it off and it bounced off into the fence. And it got this mark on it. Oh well, let me know what else I should do with my rubber band ball. So one day I saw that I left my giant hamster ball out in the leaves for months, so I got a leaf blower, blew all the leaves out, and saw that there was still a bunch of Orbeez, so I cleaned all the Orbeez out, put them in the dumpster, and I also had to hurry because there was a storm coming. I rinsed off the hamster ball, and then decided to try to get in it with these hover shoes. I got in, and then my brother zipped me up and aired me on up. But I had to stop and get out because it got too dark and stormy. But the next day was super sunny, so I got in and tried again. It aired up, and then I put my hood on because it was kind of grimy and went off. I got on the hover shoes, spun around, walked around, and fell. Then I drove a little bit more, went off into the grass, then decided to get out and throw the hamster ball away because it was really grimy. But here's the good news. If this video gets 1.5 million likes, I'll buy a new, bigger, better $800 hamster ball. So one day I got this new game called Hot Words to play with my friends, and the loser of the game would have to run in the cold creek. The game can have 2 to 4 teams, with each team having 2 people. Each team chooses a jalapeno card, which has what they can't say on it when trying to get their partner to guess a word. So then I invited my friends over to play me, and my brother. And it was all ready to play. Blake and Austin versus me and Jack. Austin drew a card and a pepper that decided his rules, and then he had 30 seconds to let Blake guess as many words as he can.
What happens when you get cut? Scratched. Yeah, it's a scar.
They progressed forward, and then it was me and Jack's turn.
Scary?
And Jack and I were doing pretty good, just naming off word and word. But the game went on, and Blake and Austin started to pick up the pace, guessing even more words, while Jack and I kind of fell off, and eventually lost. They were happy, and we ran in the cold creek at night. So one day someone commented for me to try to trade my rubber band ball with the pawn shop again, so I put it in my car, and this would be my 3rd time going. I walked in and said,
I'm back. Hey, what's happening, Dylan? I actually have this new ball.
I showed him my new aluminum foil ball first, and he said,
Pretty neat. You from getting an alien invasion. I was thinking this thing is, started it, so it's probably not going to be worth a ton, $300.
and he kind of looked at me like I was crazy, and then asked how many rolls of aluminum foil were in it, so I told him 6, and then he asked how much weight, and I didn't know, so I had him weigh it, and it wouldn't register.
How much did you spend on the foil? About like 24.
And he passed, so I threw it down and got the rubber band ball.
Almost 80 pounds, and is the most famous rubber band ball in the world, probably, maybe. That's massive.
He picked it up and then asked how much I'd sell it to him for, and I thought for a second and then highballed him at 25 grand.
1,000? Wow.
And he said his shop could probably only sell it for
100 bucks.
So I knew we had no deal. I had to pass. I got some candy and then went out the door. And the ball almost went in the street. Let me know any other ideas you have. So I'm now all the way to part 27 of my rubber band ball, and I need more bands. So I ordered these big rubber bands and started placing them. And these bands are really hard to place, so this was really exhausting. So I took a break and then came back later to place these colored rubber bands and make it look good. I placed the entire pile, and it now weighs 65 pounds. I let it roll out to the cul-de-sac, picked it up, threw it down, then tried to stand on it, then threw it again, and then my brother tried to stand on it. And like, if you want me to keep on going. So it's now to part 28 of making this giant rubber band ball, and I ordered more rubber bands. I dumped them out and placed them. And when I was finished with that, I got out these garbage bag rubber bands that I ordered that are also pretty colorful. And then I placed another pile of those ones. And it now weighs 68 pounds. I took it downstairs, out to the yard, into the cul-de-sac, and look at it next to a basketball. Ordinary basketball and hoop, rubber band ball and hoop. Tossing basketball, tossing band ball. But I can stand on this one, like if you want me to keep on going. So it's now part 29 of this rubber band ball, and I guess I'm just going to keep going. I ordered another box of these thick rubber bands and put the whole pile on my ball. I then took a break and came back later to place all these colored rubber bands that are also supposed to be garbage bag rubber bands. I placed the entire pile, and it was done. And it's now 72 pounds. I rolled it downstairs, outside, and into the cul-de-sac. Here it is in comparison to my head, and here's me trying to throw it. And look, the basketball hoop fell over. But I can stand on it. And like if you want me to keep on going. So I've been making this rubber band ball for a long time, and it's now part 30. And I ordered another pack of these big rubber bands and placed the entire pile. And after I was done with that, I got the pile of even more of these big colored rubber bands than I did last time. And when I was done with that, the ball was looking pretty good at 76 pounds. I took it out to the street, picked it up, and threw it the best I could, and then tried again. And I ended up just laying on it and then standing on it. So, like, if you want me to keep on going. So one day I bought this bucket of 300 pieces of bubble gum to try to break the world record for the world's biggest bubble, which is actually 20 inches. I chewed the 5 pieces of gum up in my mouth, and then it was this big, and I tried to blow my first bubble, which kind of sucked. And so did the second one, and the third. And the fourth one was a little bit better, but it was honestly looking like I would never beat that record. So I put a bunch more gum in my mouth and tried again, and kept on failing. This was the best I could do, so I kicked the bucket over, and then tried that thing where you kick it in your mouth, and ended up kicking it on the ceiling. Yeah, this was a fail, but comment your other ideas.